Every morning, millions of people lift an arm, spray, roll, or wipe, and move on. They do not think about history. They do not think about fear. They do not think about shame. But here is the shocking fact. Body odor had to become socially embarrassing before deodorant could become a daily habit. Today, we are going to open a very ordinary object and find a very strange story inside. A story about cities, fashion, business, and control. A story about how something natural became a problem that needed a product. And once that happened, the world never smelled the same again. By the end, you will see deodorant in a completely different way. Not just as a bathroom item, but as one of the clearest examples of how modern life can turn a human feeling into a market. Chapter 1. Origin. For most of human history, people smelled like people. That may sound obvious, but it matters. Sweat, smoke, animals, dirt, oil, and the air outside were part of daily life. In many places, bathing was not daily. Clothes were washed less often. Homes had stronger smells. Streets had stronger smells. Work was physical. Bodies were active. So body odor was not always seen as a personal failure. It was simply there. Of course, people still tried to smell better. Ancient cultures used oils, perfumes, herbs, and scented baths. Some rubbed fragrant plants on the body. Some burned incense. Some used powders. Rich people often had more options. Cleanliness and scent could show class, power, or religion. But these things were not the same as modern deodorant. Perfume covers smell. Deodorant reduces or hides body odor. Antiperspirant goes further. It reduces sweat itself. That idea came much later. Now stop for a second. If people had body odor for thousands of years, why did deodorant become normal only recently? Because the body did not change first. Society changed first. Imagine a small village centuries ago. Open air. Long distance between homes. Work outside. Fewer strangers standing shoulder to shoulder. A smell could disappear into the wind. Now hold that image, because soon the wind disappears. Chapter 2. The Rise. The first big shift came with modern city life. Mini-story number 1. Picture a crowded street in the late 1800s or early 1900s. Streetcars full, factories running, offices growing, men in jackets, women in heavy dresses. People moving through summer heat with little airflow. The city is packed, bodies are close, public space is tighter. Smell no longer disappears so easily. A woman gets onto a tram after a long afternoon. A man beside her looks away. Another passenger quietly moves. No one says a word. But everyone notices. This is when smell becomes more visible, even though you cannot see it. Urban life changed the meaning of odor. At the same time, ideas about manners, respectability, and self-control were becoming stronger. The modern person was supposed to be neat, calm, clean, disciplined, and smell began to feel like the opposite, not just sweat, a sign of disorder. A sign that maybe you did not belong in the office, the shop, the party, or the new middle class. Wait, it gets stranger. Early deodorant products existed, but many people did not want them. Some thought they were unnecessary, some thought they were awkward. Some thought talking about body odor was embarrassing. That was the real problem for companies. They did not just need to sell a product. They needed to sell a new feeling. They needed to convince people that normal human smell was a social danger. And once they did that, the habit could begin. One early product often mentioned in this story is Mum, introduced in the late 19th century. It was not glamorous, it was a cream. It was messy. It was practical, not beautiful. But it showed that a market was possible. Still, possible is not the same as huge. For the market to explode, companies needed people to feel something stronger than interest. They needed fear. Ask yourself this: what makes a person buy a product every day for life? Convenience helps. Habit helps. But fear of rejection? That is powerful. Chapter 3. The Dark Turn. Here is the uncomfortable part. The deodorant boom did not happen only because science improved. It happened because advertising learned how to attack insecurity. Mini-story number 2. A young woman sits at home in the early 1900s reading a magazine. She is educated, careful, hopeful. She wants a good future, maybe love, maybe marriage, maybe respect. Then she sees an advertisement. It tells her that one hidden problem may destroy everything, not her intelligence, not her kindness, not her dreams, her odor. This was the dark genius of early deodorant marketing. Instead of saying, "Here is a useful product," ads said, "You may be offending people without knowing it." Instead of offering comfort, they created anxiety. Instead of selling freshness, they sold social survival. And then everything changed. One famous advertising approach focused especially on women. It suggested that even a beautiful, well-dressed woman could lose romance or status because of underarm odor. The message was cruel and simple. If your life is not going well, maybe your body is secretly to blame. That idea worked, because it turned an invisible issue into a personal weakness. Worse, it made people police themselves. They had to worry about what others might notice. A harder term here is social stigma. It means a mark of shame in society, something people judge you for. Body odor became a stigma. And once stigma enters daily life, the market grows fast. Ads taught people to fear the reactions they could not even see. A smile that was too polite. A date that never called back. A coworker opening a window. A seat left empty beside you. Maybe it meant nothing. Maybe it meant everything. That uncertainty was gold for business. And this is important. Many campaigns did not only target health, they targeted class, romance, and worth. Clean people were modern. Clean people were attractive. Clean people were acceptable. The rest, risky. That is why deodorant became more than a product. It became a ritual of belonging. Who wants to be the person others remember for the wrong reason? Chapter 4. The world changes. Once the emotional door was open, science and mass production pushed it wider. New formulas improved, packaging improved, distribution improved. Products became easier to use, less messy, more portable, more modern. Then the market expanded from women to men, from special occasions to daily routine, from luxury to ordinary life. But here is the twist. The product was no longer just answering a problem. It was creating a daily script. Wake up, shower, brush. Apply deodorant, leave home, repeat. That sequence became normal in many countries, especially in places shaped by modern office culture, consumer advertising, and strong ideas of personal presentation. Then global business carried that habit across the world. American brands spread, Western beauty standards spread, media spread. Movies, magazines, television, and later the internet all repeated the same message. Fresh is good, odor is bad, and products are the solution. Of course, cultures stayed different. Some countries used more perfume, some used less deodorant. Some emphasized bathing more than products. Some had different ideas about what counts as offensive smell. But the larger direction was clear. The world was changing toward constant self-management. Hair must be controlled, skin must be controlled, breath must be controlled, sweat must be controlled, smell must be controlled. In simple words, modern life asked the body to be quiet. Your bathroom shelf is also a history book, and this change connected to work. Factories wanted discipline, offices wanted polished workers, service jobs wanted pleasant public faces. The closer we lived and worked together, the more pressure there was to remove signs of the raw body. Sweat became something private. Odor became something to erase before the day began. So deodorant did not rise alone. It rose with city life, consumer culture, gender pressure, and a new idea of the presentable human being. Not natural, presentable, there is a difference. Chapter 5. Today's surprise. Now we come to the most surprising part. Mini story number 3. A man in his 20s wakes up late for work. He showers fast. He checks his phone. He puts on deodorant in 2 seconds without looking. No thought, no question, just habit. He has never asked where this habit came from. He has never wondered why smelling neutral feels moral. He has never noticed that this tiny movement carries more than a century of advertising, anxiety, science, and social training. That is the real victory of deodorant culture. When history disappears, habit feels natural. Wait, it gets stranger. Today, some people are pushing back. There are natural deodorants, whole-body deodorants, aluminum-free products, clinical strength antiperspirants, crystal stones, luxury scents, clean beauty versions, masculine versions, sensitive skin versions. The market is not smaller now. It is larger, more emotional, and more personal than ever. The old fear has simply changed clothes. Now the language may be wellness, confidence, self-care, performance, or clean living. But underneath, one question still remains. Are we buying comfort or are we buying protection from judgment? That does not mean deodorant is evil. Far from it. Many people like it. Many need it. In hot climates, active jobs, sports, and close social spaces, it can be useful and welcome. This is not a story about throwing it away. It is a story about seeing clearly. Because once you understand the history, you notice something powerful. A daily habit can be both practical and deeply shaped by culture. And maybe that is the biggest surprise of all. Deodorant won not only because it worked, it won because it entered identity. Fresh became equal to decent, neutral became equal to safe, and odor became equal to failure. That is a very strong message to place on the human body. The product in your hand may be older than your opinion about yourself. So the next time you use deodorant, you can still use it. But maybe you will pause. Maybe you will remember that this was never only about sweat. It was about the making of modern embarrassment. It was about teaching people to worry before they smelled anything at all. It was about turning a body into a problem and then selling peace back to it. Ending. So here is the secret history of deodorant. It did not become normal just because people suddenly discovered they smelled bad. It became normal because modern society learned how to frame odor as a quiet social threat. First came crowded life, then came shame. Then came advertising. Then came routine. And finally, routine became invisible. That is how one small product took a permanent place under the human arm. Ordinary objects often have the darkest stories. And deodorant is one of them. A story of chemistry, yes, but also a story of fear, of image, of class, of romance, of the long war against any sign that we are still animals with bodies. So the next time you open the cap, ask yourself, is this just hygiene, or is it history speaking through habit? If you want another hidden story from everyday life, choose the next episode. The Secret History of Perfume. Or The Secret History of Toilet Paper. Because the most ordinary things often hide the most surprising truths.